Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Alex. Welcome to another episode of the Long 2 NBA podcast. Today I'm with both my co-hosts, Seth and Nathan.
What's going on, guys?
Hola.
Hey, it's episode 31, and a lot has happened in a week, so we've got a lot to cover today, mostly trades and whatnot, but we're just gonna cover the main ones, like the big ones that happened out in the East and whatnot, because all the other ones aren't really, like, they're cool and whatnot, but they're not, like, worth mentioning, not spending too much time on, so let's just go ahead and get right into it. Clippers trade Tobias Harris, Boban Marjanovic, Mike Scott to the Sixers for Landry Shamet, Wilson Chandler, and 2 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks.
Win-win.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a win for the Clippers because they would do what? Clear some cap space. Because they're going after. Yeah, Shamet's a good young guy who can shoot.
I still think that's real messed up because he started like balling out and it's like, ooh, trade value's going up, boys.
Yeah, you're right. You are right about that.
GMs were like, stroking their chin.
Yeah.
As far as the Sixers go, though, this is groundbreaking for me. It's been 3 games and they've won 2 out of the 3. They lost a close one to the Celtics last night, but that game against the Lakers, and who did they play in the first one? I can't remember.
Nuggets.
The Nuggets, yeah. They won both of those games, and Tobias Harris just adds so much to that team. Scoring, spaces the floor out a lot and creates space for Joel Embiid to operate down low. It takes pressure off Jimmy Butler to try to. Ever since he joined the Sixers, he hasn't really been all that aggressive.
Jimmy, no.
And he hasn't been a big scorer for them, really. I mean,
because he's not really an off-ball player. His game offensively is not really off-ball.
It is a weird fit to me, but I also like it because it's Jimmy Butler. He does a lot for you on the floor. He can make decisions close down the stretch. Yeah,
defensive anchor.
Yeah, and then Tobias Harris gives you all that, especially shooting. I mean, he's shooting above 40% from 3 this year.
All-star almost.
If he was in the East, I guarantee you he would have been an all-star. Wow. Over Vucevic. Everyone just calls him Vuce.
Remember Andre Drummond was just like, Vucevic, like trying to be funny with the name. Yeah, people were like, Vucevic.
Yes, Vucevic.
Get out of here.
He had been an all-star a couple of years before this year. Was he an all-star last year, Andre Drummond? I know he was.
He was.
I know he's been an all-star at least twice.
He was. He was on Team LeBron because there was that one clip where the Cavs played the Pistons and LeBron photo bomb.
Oh yeah, I remember. Okay, yeah, but it's been a couple days. It's been a while, like a week since that happened. The trade deadline was last Thursday, and I remember all day stuff was happening, and even the days before that, stuff leading up to it, trades were going on, and I was just like, I cannot wait for this to be over.
Yeah. Because
it's so much to try to keep up with. It almost hurts my head a little bit trying to keep up with it all, but.
Good trade for both of them, though.
Yeah, I really love this trade for the Sixers because let's talk about them and their championship, or at least finals hopes. Where does this put them in your guys' opinion?
It makes them a competitor for sure. I don't know about consistent competitor, but they definitely have a chance to steal games. I feel like that as far as right now, it's more they would be stealing games rather than, they're not very cohesive at the moment. You can see sparks of it.
Right. It's only been 3 games.
Right. There was a behind the back pass I saw Ben Simmons did, but Tobias Harris, it just went right behind.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
I think once they figure out people Tobias' spots and stuff, and the fact that Boban and Tobias both keep getting traded together, which is really cool.
Such good friends.
Toby and Bobby show. It's
That's pretty
fun
funny
to watch.
Of course.
But they actually have that chemistry together, and a pick and roll with Tobias Harris and Boban actually is really good because they have that chemistry.
I mean, they're both great locker room guys too because if you listen to Tobias Harris talk, he's just he just radiates that positive energy.
He's a genuine guy.
Yeah, and he's a great player too, and he's one of those guys who I feel like you could ask for advice about anything and they'd tell you exactly what you wanted to hear. You know what I mean? That's the kind of vibes.
Maybe not what you wanted to hear, but what you need to hear.
That's what I meant. What you need to hear.
But so you're saying are we talking about the finals or are we talking about in the East?
Both. Well, no one's beating Golden State, I don't think. So getting to the finals, where do you think they're better than
in the East? Honestly,
where do you rank them in the East after this trade? Because they got some depth too that they needed.
I would put them at 1. Of who I think's coming out of the East, because they're just too talented
Yeah.
If you really look at their top 4 players, they're just way too talented. If Ben Simmons is aggressive as he was these last couple of games, Tobias Harris, Jimmy Butler, Joel Embiid, they're just way too. They have too many advantages over others. But their coach is the worst out of the 3. in my opinion.
I agree with you on that.
And sometimes, they do have some younger players that are better. But Embiid, for some reason, Boston just knows how to take him out of the game. He hit some threes yesterday.
He hasn't figured out Al Horford yet.
No, he hasn't.
I saw a tweet that said that. Boston. Go ahead. Sorry.
Boston's tricky too, because
Boston
I could see them coming out of the East, but I could see them getting bounced in the second.
I can
round.
see any of the top 4 teams on paper.
Yeah,
the top
I agree.
Milwaukee, Toronto.
I can't see Milwaukee
Boston,
coming
Sixers.
out of the East.
You can't. I can see all 4 of them coming out.
I really should, because right now they're playing the best.
Yeah.
But I just feel like when it comes to talent, and your second best player is who? Middleton.
Well,
Middleton versus who? Jimmy Butler. Middleton
sure, that's
versus
fair,
Ben
but they've
Simmons.
also got a lot of really quality
There's
players.
star power, and then there's chemistry.
Yeah, and overall how well your team plays together.
Right. They have a good system. They have a great coach.
They do.
With Coach Bud.
Yeah.
But Toronto last year had a great system. They had one guy who was really balling out in DeMar DeRozan. Giannis is better, obviously. But DeMar DeRozan didn't have to go. Last year's East is way different than this year's East.
Of course.
So it's like the Bucks have a great system, but in the NBA playoffs, when it gets really deep, you need stars because the role players are sometimes.
That's true.
The moment's gonna get a little big. For them.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But they've got guys who are capable of it, like
Bledsoe didn't have a
Brogdon.
good playoffs last year,
No,
which
he
is
didn't.
why another reason I'm a little skeptical.
Well, keep in mind it's a completely different team, different coach.
It is, yeah.
So we'll have to see how they look this year. I'm expecting them to at least get to the second round.
But I also
bare
do
minimum.
think Toronto's a little bit better version of the Bucks. Honestly, I do. I think they're similar systems, but I think
They're
I've
similar.
seen Toronto falter at times.
That's true.
As far as
also.
closing out games, especially games that they should be winning. Like what was the game-winning shot that Kawhi hit last?
That was against the Nets, but the Nets are a playoff team.
They are, but barely.
They're a scrappy.
They're a great
sure.
scrappy
The Raptors
team.
were up 6 or 7. I thought that.
At the
game,
same time, if you're supposed to be like this, win now championship team, you've got to take care of games.
Well, every team has those
point differential,
not dud games, but close games with teams that really shouldn't be all that close. It happens.
Point differential is actually a really.
But I've seen it happen multiple times. Like they almost lost to the Hawks.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
I do remember that. Trae Young tried to ISO on Kawhi and it didn't work.
Oh my god! No. I was like, "What are you doing?"
I mean, he doesn't lack confidence, which I like.
Absolutely.
The Bucks, though, I'll give you this: the Bucks are first in point differential. They're beating teams on average.
Yeah,
by 9
right.
points.
That's
score
why I
a lot
like
of
the
points.
Bucks as
And they
odds
played
because
good defense.
they seem to,
Yeah.
they separate themselves. They get that gap and they don't blow a lead or let teams creep up.
Yeah.
And Toronto's, when I checked, theirs was around 3. So
Okay.
And Kawhi's been in and out of the lineup.
Right.
Too,
Yeah.
Still.
There's that scale where it's like, it calculates like your offense efficiency and defensive efficiency, and the lower you are to the bottom left, the worse team you are. The higher and to the right you are, the better you are.
Boston,
And the Bucks are at the very top.
Yeah, but in that case too, Boston's 4th because I heard him talking about it earlier on ESPN.
Yeah, I mean, again, those 4 teams in the East are really good. But I will say this: the Sixers to me have the second best starting lineup in the NBA. You got Simmons and Redick,
Agreed. Worst
Joel
coach,
Embiid, Tobias
and
Harris.
worst system. If you're just talking about purely, getting guys open and stuff like that, it's a lot of just talent based.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's coach.
Right. Am I tripping? Oh yeah, and Jimmy Butler. That was the last guy. But I mean, Brett Brown. I don't really like his lineups that he uses at times. He hasn't figured that out. But granted, he just got the team is complete now. Like this is the team they're gonna have. So they haven't had much time. So that's the concern I have is if he can figure out lineups and if what's his name James Ennis can stop trying to do jelly layups and get stuffed at the rim every time he does it.
And you guys were talking about Boban. I think Enes Kanter was a guy that they also should have came out.
Yeah, we'll get to him later.
Yeah, but because their big men don't really, outside of Joel Embiid, Boban defensively is good.
Yeah.
But offensively,
to me, they're trying to use him as a legitimate backup center, and he was never used as that with the Clippers. And to me, he's here. He can give you like spot minutes. here and there and do some stuff
He's
for
not
you,
a-
but he's not a 20-minute per game.
He's not a rotation player.
No, he's not.
He's not.
He's not.
So you guys probably think that as far as extended minutes on the floor, you don't think he'll last or be able to keep up?
I don't think he'll be playable in the playoffs.
Yeah.
To be honest with you,
He's 7. What is he? 7'3"?
he's way too slow
They
to
draw
guard.
him out on the perimeter.
Can you imagine him trying to guard DeMarcus Cousins, or trying to guard Giannis?
Forget DeMarcus. When they get him on that high screen, dude, it's over.
Yeah.
When he's ISO'd
He's
on
way too slow.
Steph Curry or whatever.
Oh
point
no!
guard,
Oh man! If he switches onto a point guard,
He's gotta be
especially
in the
Steph
paint.
Curry or
Yeah.
Kyrie.
He can't be in any lineup.
Bro,
that's-
it's Nutmeg City.
Yeah.
Dude,
Man,
Steph be doing the centers really dirty.
oh
too.
yeah, we've seen Gobert, Gasol, all
Yeah.
been victims to Steph.
Mm,
He'll do it to anybody, honestly, but he targets the centers specifically when they switch onto him.
Gortat, where's Gortat right now? Is he a free agent?
He was with the Clippers.
He was with the he's still with the Clippers
Okay.
because he got traded from Washington. Remember?
Yeah, but I think there's some buyout rumor going on there.
Yeah.
I'd look into that if I were them. That'd be a nice little
Yeah,
nice
he can be a rotation player.
veteran
but
too.
yeah,
Yeah.
give you something.
Defensively, same thing.
Any more thoughts? Okay, I didn't give my opinion on the
Yeah.
on
so-
the Sixers.
ahead.
To me, I mentioned I think they have the best starting 5 outside of Golden State.
Yep, easily. Too.
I think they're the most talented
Agreed.
starting lineup wise. The bench is a little shaky,
Ugh.
if you ask me. I mean, they got Jonathan Simmons, who played really well for the Spurs a couple years ago in the playoffs, but that was in their system. The Sixers system is way different from that, but Brett Brown has some intel on Simmons because he was part of Popovich's coaching staff for that, I believe. Or at least he has some of Popovich's knowledge because he wasn't part of that team, but he has worked with Pop in the past. So, but then again, he's not the best coach, like you said. To me, Mike Budenholzer is the best coach in the East.
Yeah.
Probably
easily.
in the NBA actually.
Easily too.
Um,
In the NBA,
yeah.
Who do you think?
Who do you think is the best?
I
Just
still-
real quick.
I still think it's Pop.
You still think it's Pop? Okay,
and
that's
I
fine.
trust Brad Stevens
Yeah,
too.
that's
By
fine.
the way,
That's
actually,
fine.
I'd say Brad Stevens is the best in the East.
Ew, not this year.
Hey,
Well,
we'll
they,
get to
I don't know.
Kyrie.
We'll get to the
Yeah,
Celtics in
that's
a
a
little
big
bit.
part
Yeah.
of it.
So, but anyways, I think they could definitely come out of the East. I wouldn't call them the favorites though, because I'm not. I saw this stat that said they're 1-7 against the
Ooh.
other top 4
Yeah.
teams in the East.
That doesn't happen.
But that was the great. They've lost to. Right now they're 0-1 since the trade deadline, since their team has been complete as it is now. So it could be a different story come playoffs. But that stat is kind of, you can't ignore it really.
No.
But I'm not going to base it off just these 3 games or just that one loss to the Celtics. I still think they have a chance to come out of the East. I'm just not sure I would bet on it or really bank on it. It all comes down to Brett Brown for me figuring out the lineups and how to use the guys properly. Because if they can figure that out, I think they win the East. But if not, I'm not counting out the other 3.
Their bench worries me too.
Their bench worries you also? Yeah.
It's not a good bench, and
Not-
there's no
not really.
chemistry on that bench. Toronto's got 3 years. Their bench has been together.
Yeah, the
Same
bench
deal
mob.
with the Celtics. Celtics just played an entire season last year.
Yeah,
with
with
a lot of their bench guys.
Yeah.
So they are not. They don't have the advantage bench wise.
Right. So let's get into the trades the other teams made. Pelicans traded Nikola Mirotic to the Bucks for Jason Smith and Stanley Johnson and 2 second-round picks. What an absolute heist.
That's
By
probably
the
the
Bucks.
biggest. That's the biggest. The
I
most
don't-
impactful.
You think so?
I just don't.
Oh,
I think Tobias Harris is
Yeah.
more. You don't get it? I don't get
No,
it.
no, I don't get it for the other side of it.
Yeah, I get it for the
No.
Bucks. I don't get it. I don't get it for the Pelicans.
I was like,
Yeah.
That's why I just said it was a heist. Like,
right.
I mean, Nikola Mirotic is a great all-around player as far as I'm concerned, especially shooting. He spaces the floor even more for Giannis.
Extremely well.
Even more than how it was already. So to me, he's going to fit like a glove perfectly in that offense and be another guy who's going to help put them over the edge and possibly come out of the East.
Who
So
were they starting before?
I honestly don't really know who I would pick to come
Who,
out.
who were they starting at the 4 previously?
Not Thonmaker. He was.
Was it Giannis at the 4?
They have Giannis at the 4.
He
They
needs to
have
be-
they
go back to
have
the
they have Brogdon and Bledsoe at the 1 and 2.
And then Middleton at the 3.
Middleton at the 3.
Brogdon's probably going to be out of the lineup if
No.
Mirotic starts. If he doesn't, then not. But
I don't remember who he started. Like who. He's obviously going to start.
Giannis was the 4.
And Brooke Lopez was the
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
So Whew.
Was
Damn, I guess Middleton.
Bledsoe, Brogdon.
I guess one of them's got to sit. I guess it would be Brogdon.
If they started,
But to me,
Mirotic can heat up though. So
yeah, do you think Mirotic would be content as a 6-man role?
Yeah.
yeah, because he's done it before.
Yeah.
I think last year and
I think he started for the Pelicans last year.
before Boogie got hurt.
I don't remember,
He was
honestly.
he was the four,
Maybe.
and then he started when the Bulls traded for him. I remember.
Yeah.
The
Honestly,
year
I don't
before.
remember.
Yeah.
But Brogdon has really come into his own in his second year. I mean, he's a good really efficient scorer. He's on 50, 40, 90 this year, and just he knows his role on the team. And
He's the same age as
I wouldn't disrupt it
Yeah.
right now.
I agree. Because they got a good thing going.
Because if you have Nikola Mirotic coming off as your
Number
6-man,
one
I mean,
offense,
I
right?
wouldn't mind either way what they decide to do with him. But
They're the number
whether
one
he starts or
offense.
comes off the bench, it's going to benefit them extremely much.
When does he When do you think they'll officially come back? Have they said
Who?
Mirotic?
I think he's injured, right? He
Yeah,
hasn't.
that's why this trade was like because he's not playing yet.
Right.
So
Whenever-
has there been any word of his injury report?
Nothing
Status?
not yet. I know he's not. It wasn't anything serious, and he's not going to be out for too long. So he should be back pretty soon. But he's going to get probably 30-something minutes a game, whether he starts or comes off the bench. I would imagine 25, 30.
They'll slowly work in the minutes. They won't start like 30-something minutes,
Right.
but it'll probably get to
Yeah,
that.
for sure. Oh man, what a great pickup for them because he's an
Excellent.
extremely good shooter
Excellent
and
pickup.
just a great can attack the basket. He's like you just said it, excellent pickup. I mean, that helps them.
I really think these playoffs are going to be something to watch.
I can't wait, dude.
Gotta be. Man.
Both conferences.
Indiana, by the way, they're not getting talked about a lot. They're still playing pretty well without Victor Oladipo. They put it on the Lakers the other.
I said that. I said I don't buy that they're gonna just suddenly
Yeah, you
drop
did.
out of the race because they're
38 and 19.
They're too well coached.
Yeah.
They got too many good guys who play hard.
Yeah.
Even without Oladipo, and they just got who was it? Wesley Matthews.
Yeah, they're 2
He's a
games up
decent
on.
player.
They're 2 games up on.
They're in the 4th spot right now, right?
3rd spot.
Third.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, because the 4-5 matchup is currently Philly, Boston.
Hey man, I'm here for it.
And Boston has had some. They've been in their head somehow. Boston has been in Philly's head.
Yeah.
But I wanted to make this point.
6 out of the last 7 times they played.
I understand why the Warriors got DeMarcus Cousins because if they didn't get DeMarcus Cousins, I don't know necessarily that they would be favorites to win the championship this year.
I agree.
So they're not just going to sit by and let all the other teams get better because they
They're
saw
not going to let
them
them catch up.
Yeah.
They've got to evolve.
They've
as well.
they've got to make a signing to improve their roster as well. So I understand now why they traded for him because they saw the rest of the league is slowly catching
However,
up to
though,
them.
DeMarcus, normally, when you look at the Warriors, you look at all the two-way players they have. DeMarcus Cousins isn't as dynamic on the defensive end, obviously because he's coming off an injury, 1.
Right.
But
He's going to be a
2,
little
he's-
slower.
He is a little bit slower, and he's not really known for his deep. And that might not affect them because I mean they still got 4 other guys who can play defense. But I'm just saying he's not your typical. Oh, there are no holes. You could still take DeMarcus off the dribble.
Yeah.
You know. So.
Right, but still, adding him makes them better,
The
no
favorite.
doubt.
It made
DeMarcus
them-
can bring it up the court. He can do things that
He does so much
some
for them.
centers that
Yeah.
Yeah.
It made them
Can't do
better,
it.
but it didn't make them insanely better. Like
No, but if they didn't
'cause
have
you can
him,
only get so much better at some
Yeah.
point. You know.
but like he spaces the floor, which they haven't had a center that can do.
Yeah. To an
Uh,
extent.
yeah, he's a good passer. Does a lot of things for them that they haven't had before, and that again puts them over the top
Ball
of everybody
dominant
else.
though. By the way.
Well, he's adapted, I think.
But
I mean,
but
he hasn't complained
his
or
best
looked out of
version,
place.
The best version of
The
him
best
is
version
ball
of himself is the guy,
Yeah.
of course.
And
But
you
he's
could-
played well so far in that system.
Yeah.
And I think the Warriors have enjoyed the I don't want to say challenge, but the idea of, oh hey, we're gonna shake things up a little bit by adding another guy into our lineup. This should be fun.
Yeah.
Because they look like they're playing with a lot more passion than
Right.
last year. Remember last year how they just kind of coasted?
Oh.
This
They
year
just
they didn't really care
They
about.
didn't deserve
that's such
where
a
they
Warriors
ended up.
mindset though. This should be fun. We get to add someone new. Yay.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So that's what they've done, and I think it's been good for them and good for DeMarcus.
It has.
You guys got any other thoughts on the Pelicans trade? Mirotic to the Bucks?
No, I think we hit up.
Yeah. Other big trade, Raptors trade Jonas Valanciunas, DeLon Wright, CJ Miles, and a second-round pick for Marc Gasol.
Yeah,
What do y'all think?
DeLon wasn't doing anything. CJ Miles was somewhat of a hit because he is a good shooter.
CJ Miles hasn't been very impactful this year. Last year in the playoffs, he was.
Oh, yeah. I was banking on maybe he's a veteran. He's probably just kind of saving
He's
his best
regressed.
version.
He's kind of older also now.
That's also true.
And
Jonas just disappears.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. They've got a center who will show up in the playoffs and make layups. Because I remember the whole reason they lost some of those games last year was because he couldn't finish in the paint. I'm talking about in that series with Cleveland.
It was tough.
When they got swept by Cleveland last year, they would have at least won a couple of games.
It's those categories like I don't know, like that Nurkic and him fall under that are just like they underperform at certain times and they're inconsistent.
Which is why,
as far as scoring load.
Yeah, which is why I'd rather have a defensive guy at the center position, like a Capella or something.
Right.
Versus.
Yeah, and he's young too, and he's a rim runner.
Yeah, and Jonas is young also, but Jonas just.
He can't finish at the rim,
can't. And he's 7'1".
Yeah,
No,
he needs to just.
He can't pass as well as Gasol either.
Do y'all remember that like game-winning layup he missed against Cleveland last year?
That
just
to me that
missed
was
an easy
series
bunny.
changing.
Yeah,
because you start out 1-0, you got confidence. Oh, this team has been beating us all the time, and then they had that whole game 1 streak, which I think they broke anyway.
Yeah, they did.
Series before.
Yeah.
And then also, DeMar DeRozan was terrible in that Cleveland series too.
DeMar and Kyle Lowry both tend to wilt away a little.
Yeah,
Kyle Lowry was
right.
good
You're right
some
about
games,
that.
but they tend to wilt in the playoffs for whatever reason. We saw it happen to Damian Lillard, who's my guy, last year. Granted,
It looks
injury,
like the Raptors
whatnot.
won that trade, by the way.
Oh, easily. Are you kidding me?
Because DeMar's good, but he isn't.
Yeah.
He looks different. That's all
He's
I'm
got
gonna
a-
say.
There's flashes in the pan of like what he can be.
He's
what
been
he not what he used to be, like he's falling off or anything. I just think it's again inconsistent. It's like the one time he plays the Raptors, he drops like it was like his first triple double.
Yeah.
triple
Triple-double ever. Yeah.
The first one of his career.
Yeah.
And he knew he wanted to drop that on their head because he was like,
of course.
when do we
He's
play
not
him?
a
I gotta
kid.
put that on the calendar.
Yeah. Is it just me? I'm sorry, go ahead.
He's not a kid either, by the way. He's
Who?
DeMar DeRozan.
Oh.
He was drafted in 2010.
Yeah, he's been in the league for
29
9, 10 years
old.
now.
Yeah.
Forgot what I was going to
He
say.
is what he is.
Right. Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is it just me or has he been kind of forgotten about in San Antonio?
Yeah,
I mean,
I definitely see
San
that.
Antonio's been forgotten about. Honestly.
Right. Yeah, they have. What are they? 6th, 7th right now?
Yeah, I think they're maybe 3 or 4 games away from these.
Kind of tends
Yeah.
to be the pattern every year, though. We just forget about it. It's like, oh yeah, the Spurs are a thing.
But
Right.
that's true. But normally,
They don't go away.
And DeMar DeRozan just fell into that abyss of.
It's sad, man. 'Cause
anonymity.
I really loved watching him in Toronto, but now it just like I said, it seems like he's been kind of an afterthought
and
in San
normally the
Antonio.
Spurs are always on pace for 56 to 66 wins, 65 wins. They had that
a
season
while ago, yeah.
No, I mean honestly,
Recent years.
Well, last year because Kawhi was hurt, but the year before that,
Yeah, you're right.
they were a
You're right.
60-win team.
They-
Year before
Mhm.
that, they were a 60-win team. So, but these couple San Antonio teams, they're not built. They don't feel the same.
No.
How,
Yeah,
how old is Patty Mills now?
I want to
Too
say he's
old to be
27. How old is Patty Mills? 30. Damn, I was way off.
Dang, yo!
He's getting
I
up.
just asked. I didn't know.
Because I think he was he played in. I'm not sure if he played in Europe for a little bit. But
I don't remember.
he hasn't been relevant enough in the NBA.
Right.
Or not relevant enough, but I feel like he's not been in the NBA long enough. So like hearing 30 years old, there's no way he just was drafted as a teenager. He probably
Right.
came in like really old or something.
How long has he been in the league for? I don't know. To me, it feels like he's always been here.
I was thinking he's kind of like PJ Tucker. PJ Tucker played a couple years overseas, couple years here.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
Kind of alternated.
Maybe. Honestly, I don't know. But they're not starting. The Raptors aren't starting Marc Gasol. They're still
Smart.
starting Serge Ibaka, and
That's
they're having Gasol come off the bench,
Yeah.
which I really like.
Because
he gives them
was
more
like a
depth.
true center.
Yeah.
You could argue the most cohesive lineup in the East is that.
Yeah, they've got it. But
Yeah.
here's the problem: is they're old. aside, the Raptors are kind of old,
Are they?
right? A little bit. I'm sorry. Completely. Like,
Okay,
Marc Gasol is kind of
Lowry's
old.
still
Kyle
in his
Lowry.
20s. isn't
Your
he?
second and third best.
Or he's 30.
What? Okay, you'd call.
Lowry's
Would you?
30.
Is it fair to say that Kyle Lowry and Marc Gasol are your second and third best player behind Kawhi?
No, Pascal Siakam.
Okay, third and fourth.
Impactful?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay.
In the long run. But if you're talking about right now,
All right,
you
but
can make an argument. Van Vliet, when he was last year and this year, beginning of this year, he was actually really good as a backup point guard.
here's my question.
He was running that second year.
Right.
really
Here's
well.
my question though: Is 30-something-year-old Kyle Lowry and
31.
old Marc Gasol enough, and up and coming Pascal Siakam, is that enough for Kawhi to want to re-sign there?
Yes.
You think so?
Just because of his options. You're taking a chance if you're going to LA anyway, right?
Right.
If he's going to the Clippers or the Lakers, you're still taking a chance because it's not like their roster right now is any better.
To me the Clippers are less appealing now that they don't have Tobias Harris.
I disagree.
Really?
Because I think the only reason they traded away Tobias Harris
Was to create the space.
To become
Okay.
also more appealing.
Huh? I don't know. I would
Because
have.
well, if you're going to LA, you're not going there you're not going there to win it like chip unless you and somebody else are planning to go there together.
Right. We talked about that the
Yeah.
other day. Okay, but I just don't know. I mean, to me, the Raptors don't have enough youth and other star.
They definitely
other
don't
star
have an
in their
X factor.
prime or up and coming star outside of Siakam.
They don't have an X factor like all the other teams.
Well, they have an X factor.
I think Siakam is that X
Yeah.
factor, in my opinion.
I honestly think he's got to play. I think he is right now. I think he's got to be one of the main factors.
He is.
When I look
He's
at
one of the
X-
best players on the team.
But when I look at an X factor, I look at a guy who you're not necessarily depending on every game.
Right, but he
Okay.
But
can
needs
give you
to-
like 30 at,
Exactly.
at a random
Which he's
time.
capable of
You
doing.
could
I
argue
watched him do
Kyrie.
it live.
He
actually.
delivered a game
Yeah.
winner, and like it was so
Yeah.
perfect. Like
Yeah.
he timed it right. He knew what his spot was. He didn't
Yeah.
try to take some jumper that
Yeah.
he was uncomfortable with.
Mhm.
You know, he's really evolved into a great player.
Right.
And so I think Pascal could be that person. I just hope he doesn't disappear.
And you can
know,
argue
it's
Yeah.
an important.
KD.
I don't think he will, because he was impactful last year too, part of the bench mob.
Yeah.
But
I look at
To
KD
me-
like that, by the way.
You
I
think he
think-
disappears?
No, I think KD is an X factor.
KD disappears. I've never heard anybody
Right.
say
I was
that.
like, what?
I think he's an X factor in their system. He's kind of
Huh.
like a in case of emergency guy.
That's
who they're
weird.
just like go 1-on-1. Here's the ball.
Right.
Oh, okay,
All right.
yeah,
Let's
that's
get
fine.
out of
Something
hand.
like that.
KD, take care of
Go
this.
get a bucket. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's understandable. But I went to the Raptors and Hawks game the other day, and I saw Pascal Siakam
Ooh.
drop 30.
Whew, yeah.
So, I mean,
I saw some highlights of that game.
He's pretty good, of course. I mean, we've known that. He's one of the best players on the team. I'm just not totally convinced that Kawhi is going to
That's
stay there
fair.
based on their lack of other star power outside of Siakam.
Kawhi doesn't
Of
really
course, there's
strike
Kyle
me.
Lowry, but we all know Kyle Lowry's kind of on the decline a little bit.
I think if he leaves, it's going to be for the market.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't eventually the great team that they're going to have to replace Kyle Lowry.
Because he played on a great team with the Spurs. You don't think if he was still in the Spurs, they would have
Yeah,
figured out
you're
a way to
right.
get
I
some
mean,
free agents?
that's a good point. I don't
Kyrie
know.
even listed
I don't
that
know.
before the start of last season as the Spurs, one of his trade.
I remember that. I just don't know if I can. I don't see it as well as I saw it. I want him to re-sign there because I don't really want players to move all
he
that
hasn't
much.
embraced it that much either.
But yeah, well, he's a quiet guy. He's not gonna. He doesn't really come out and say much, anyways. But it looks like he's got great chemistry with his teammates and whatnot. So I could be wrong. It's just it doesn't look like the most appealing thing, as far as age and other star players. If they can make a trade for another, not Marc Gasol, but another star player, then maybe. I don't know. To me, it's just
What star do you think would be attracted to that kind of market? Because Toronto,
If you were-
the fans love them. They are a loved franchise within there
Right.
because they basically got the backing of a whole country. That's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna throw this out there. If you can snag Kemba Walker and replace Kemba Walker
Ooh.
with Kyle Lowry,
Okay.
Yeah, I was just
if
thinking
they can
that.
swap,
It's got to be somebody who's tired of losing.
right.
Because Toronto's.
There's a lot of them out there.
Yeah.
So if they can somehow make some kind of trade deal, in this offseason,
yeah,
but Kemba's going to be a free agent. So if they can somehow
Sign him and
get
move
rid of
Lowry.
Kyle Lowry,
get Lowry
I'm
up
all
outta
on
here.
board for getting Kemba Walker to replace Kyle Lowry.
Lowry's just a guy I don't trust either. He's not even
he's
that
got
good
the,
defensively.
He's got the pit bull, as they say, mentality, and he's a good player and whatnot. He's a great passer, playmaker, but he's not a scorer. Is my thing.
And so, if you're 6 feet, you're not the pit bull like Chris Paul used to be, and you're not the scorer Kemba is at that same height. It's kind of like you're in this awkward, okay, I got to do everything else well type guy because I can't really get my shot off whenever I want to.
Right, but if they can somehow get one of these free agents to come there in the summer, I
can't see it.
I can't either, but if they can somehow either trade for one or something, I don't know. Maybe even a Bradley Beal.
Great trade, honestly. That'd be a great pickup for them. I thought the Lakers should have went after it. They're trying to move heaven and
the
hell
Wizards
for
weren't
Anthony
trying
Davis.
to shop him for whatever reason. I don't know. All right, we kind of got a little bit off topic, but no, we were talking about the Raptors. So, you got any other thoughts on the Raptors, boss?
No, I don't think they're too old. I think there's.
Oh yeah, what's your take on Kawhi maybe re-signing there, based on my point? You don't think they're too old for him to do it?
I think I'm kind of siding with Nathan here, just thinking he might go for more of a sure thing than just some winging it. Let's meet up in LA and see if we can make a super team.
That's a great point that you guys made, because they've got a winning culture there. Why would he want to leave that?
Right. And again,
the
fans
to go
are amazing.
to go to an unknown. That's a good point. Also, to go to an unknown scenario where you might not win. But again, it's Kawhi Leonard, so he would help any team win. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he does. All right, another big trade. Magic trade Jonathan Simmons and a first and second round pick to the 76ers for, drumroll, Markelle Fultz. So Markelle Fultz is out of Philly, and he's on his way to the Magic. To me, this is a low-risk, high-reward scenario. Because if he pans out in a new situation, which I think he's going to benefit greatly from, because there's no pressure for him to be one of the best players on a team that has championship aspirations.
Yeah.
To me, this is a perfect scenario for him. They're not trying to necessarily win now. They're rebuilding.
And this is good for him because
Yes.
I think he will be further out of the spotlight. It'll
Exactly.
be less about the Markelle Fultz was bust story.
He's not in a huge city market like Philadelphia 76ers.
Right. As much as they loved him there, even
we're
through
rooting for him.
all of this, what was it like? It's been like 16 months of just this dramatic storyline of
the
what
injury,
happened to his shot,
yes,
and his arm and shoulder, and
it's been the weirdest story.
diagnosis.
Yeah, going from the number 1 overall pick, having that pressure alone on you,
Right.
and then having the thoracic outlet syndrome and whatnot.
Can you imagine if they took Tatum?
Man, they should have.
Oh
The
my
Lakers should have
gosh.
taken
If
Tatum as well.
But if the Sixers had the number 1 pick, if they take Tatum, are we sure they're not the favorites right now? Or are we sure they're not equally with Golden State right now?
They might not have traded for Tobias Harris at that point.
They might have used Tatum to get somebody even better.
Maybe. I don't know, man. They would definitely be better off initially.
Yeah.
Like they might have not
Or
even had to make any trades at all.
De'Aaron
Also,
Fox,
yes.
Laurie
What a-
Markkinen.
Yep. Kyle
Even Malik
Kuzma.
Monk, I would have saw more in than, because at least Malik Monk can score.
Well,
Markelle Fultz. Listen,
he earned the number 1 pick after his college season.
I didn't think so.
You didn't?
I would have, but here's where I would have been also a bad GM.
Definitely
that
a
time.
lottery pick.
I would have said Josh Jackson, so I would have still been wrong.
Yeah,
I would
right.
have still been wrong.
Right.
But I did not see the Markelle Fultz thing.
Okay.
And everyone
That's
else was
fair.
calling him
Again-
James Harden.
Oh, I'd never heard that, but you got a fair point.
Again, a lot of it has to do with upside.
Yeah.
People look at what was
Hindsight is
upside?
2020.
Yeah.
Right, of course. If we could go back and redraft, many years, we would.
Right.
The league
We
would
can't
look
really
drastically different.
sit here and be like, what idiots for them drafting
Right,
after
'cause-
everything is unfolded.
Yeah, because everything happens in that moment.
Yeah.
You can't see into the future, obviously. So, but like you
gotta
said,
go based off interviews
Right.
and workouts, and guys are prepared for that.
right.
So.
To your point, Seth, about a new situation being a good thing for him.
Mhm.
There's like I said, there's no pressure to win there. He's not going to be swarmed. Like there's no pressure. What am I trying to say?
Media's not going to be on.
Yeah,
it.
the media's not
Philly
going to be on
media?
it. Yeah, the Philly media is not going to be there. He's going to be in a part of a rebuilding situation, and sometimes a new
Nobody
scenario.
cares about the
Right.
Magic.
Sometimes
No.
exactly. Sometimes a new team in a new scenario can be so beneficial to a player, especially one who's been dealing with mental issues and injury.
Personal issues, too.
Yeah, personal issues, mental issues, the injury, the pressure, like, all that's going to be gone now, and he's going to get a fresh start, and I think it's going to benefit him, and we might see the Markelle Fultz that we expected eventually. Yeah. It's probably going to take a while still because it takes a long time for players to develop. Maybe not a long time, but it takes a while for them to develop what they're going to be.
Why don't they move the Magic to, like, Seattle or something? Because doesn't Seattle want a team really big?
Yeah, they do.
Let's be honest.
Well,
I don't think
same thing for the
Orlando's a
Clippers.
market, right?
I mean,
No, at least LA's LA.
it's very overlooked.
But they haven't been
Orlando.
good in 10 years.
Right,
let's be
since
honest.
Dwight Howard.
So they don't
Say
deserve a
they say
franchise.
LA's big market, but God, again,
It's all
I
Lakers
think,
there.
But there's a leverage to recruit free agents.
Right.
What is Orlando going to tell free agents?
Disney World.
Exactly. Like, no, I'll just go after
win or
I'll go-
lose, we going to Disney World off
Exactly.
season.
Yeah.
What was that quote?
It's
1,
not
2,
even
3
beachside.
Cancun. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Y'all know that story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like in
1,
the
2,
middle of
3, Cancun.
Florida. Orlando's like in the middle of Florida too, so it's a drive to the beach.
Right.
You know?
Oh,
You
man.
can't
Yeah.
necessarily say I got a beachside.
Let's go to Universal.
Yeah. It's
How
like
long have they been rebuilding for now?
10 years.
A while?
Yeah.
Just like Phoenix?
Just like
Nobody's been rebuilding
And the
as
Knicks.
long as the Kings, though.
Well, the Kings to me aren't even rebuilding.
I like
anymore.
them now. They're done, but nobody was rebuilding
Oh,
as long
right.
as
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
missed
you're right.
the playoffs 17 years in a row, I think. They said.
Damn.
Or no, it was 13, I think, years in a row.
Okay, I was going to say 17 is a little much, I think. But, yeah, man, that's...
It's not great.
The Kings definitely deserve some love for
I'd
sure.
love to
I
see them in
know
the
they
playoffs.
just traded for
Harrison Barnes.
Barnes.
Yeah.
And he's a solid player. He's
Shout out to
not the most
Steph
efficient
Curry.
shooter. Yeah, we were talking
Yeah.
earlier. Steph Curry got a lot of
He got
money.
him paid max contract at the time.
Yeah,
$20
man.
million for Harrison Barnes.
But
Man.
that signing to me is like, okay, Kings are making a push for the 8th seed, and so far they're in it. They're like
He's a starter.
they're two games in front of LA, and they're in front of both LA teams, the Clippers and the Lakers.
Yeah.
And we'll get to the Lakers in a second. They gotta.
Clippers aren't.
We'll talk about
great
that.
either.
But yeah, I mean, I would love to watch the Kings in the playoffs because they're a young, fighting
too.
team.
Me too.
Even if they
man.
play, they're gonna end up playing Golden State probably.
I
But
don't care if they get swept.
I don't either. I mean,
Yeah.
to me, they're capable of stealing a game.
Yeah, they're gonna make it
every
fun.
game they've played against Golden State this year has been a fun game.
Yeah.
A close
We're
one.
talking about Kings, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Has been a close game.
Even KD admitted, he's like, nah, they're here.
They're
said
here.
They're not
he-
rebuilding
yeah.
anymore. They're here.
Yeah, De'Aaron Fox is something special.
Yeah. Buddy Hield.
Buddy
shooting has
Hield
been
is
amazing.
Buddy Hield is phenomenal. To me,
They're an
he's
actual team.
most improved.
They're an actual NBA team.
Willie
CLA.
Cauley-Stein's actually
Willie
panning
Cauley
out.
Stein, Marvin Bagley is awesome.
He's gonna get paid somewhere, Willie. I think.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
probably.
he's gonna get paid because he's having.
People
a really
were
good year.
being like, man, it's bust.
Yeah.
You know,
No.
people just. I keep saying it was like people are saying like I'm Trump or something.
Yeah, he's turned into DeAndre Jordan pretty much this year. What DeAndre used to be.
What he used to be. DeAndre to me is not good.
DeAndre, yeah, but he's also played for some teams who
Who are
trying
bad.
to
That's
win.
that's also true. But to me, he's not as good as he once was.
Yeah, agreed.
So, Anthony Davis never ended up getting traded. And he's going to play out the rest of the season.
Yep.
And I can't remember who made this analogy, but it was spot on. It was that it's like when you break up with somebody and you're forced to live with them until one of you saves
Was it
enough
Jeff
money
Van
to.
Gundy?
I wasn't done. No, I'm kidding.
I'm sorry, but I think it was Jeff Van Gundy
Was
who
it?
said it.
Was
I
it?
think so.
Maybe it was him, but he was like, you're forced to live with
Jeff
that
Van
person.
Gundy know about a girlfriend.
I'm pretty sure he's married.
I'm kidding.
You're forced to live with that person until one of them saves up enough money to move out. So this creates a really weird dynamic between him and the fans. We saw him play the other night. They were cheering for him.
No, yeah,
whenever
they
he
were
made
like
it-
cheering and booing.
cheering when he made a basket, booing whenever he touched it. So it was. It's just a super weird
I'm
dynamic.
still dropping like 30 and 15. Like, leave me alone.
To me, they
He was
should
bad
have.
last night.
They need to figure out a reason to shut him down for the rest of the season, because what they're doing right now is not working.
Sore feelings.
Because they have to play him apparently, or else they'll get fined $100,000
Right.
per game, which is gonna come out to like $2.5 million
Anthony
if they were
Davis
to
just
sit
take
him.
a spill and say like spring summer.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
Listen, man,
they
this
gotta
is
figure
awkward.
out-
I don't know.
Right.
I don't want to take any chances with
Yeah.
this pinky spring.
Yeah,
They should have traded him. They should have moved him at the deadline
Yeah.
to me, they lost out by that, and now they have this really weird situation. Or do they have to figure out a way to shut him down for the rest of the season and avoid fines?
I don't think they should have traded.
Well,
regardless of the
know,
offers
man.
and everything, you think that
What
if
better
you were in
offer?
that position to make these trades and you saw the list that LA offered, you were like, nope.
Because
What else can
LA's
you
gonna
ask
offer
for?
them. LA's gonna offer them the same thing. Did any of us buy it when LA was like, "This is our final offer"? No, they're gonna come back to them in the summer and they're gonna
was
be
their
like,
final offer of at that
At
point.
that
yeah,
point,
but they're gonna come
What
back
else
to
can
them
you
with
offer?
the same
though?
offer.
What else? Yeah. But now
But
every
make
other
sure
team can
everything,
get in on it.
Yeah, but you don't know. There might be another team waiting who would be like, okay, we didn't have the season we wanted. We're just gonna try and go all in. You just got to see all your offers, in my opinion. You can't just see what LA is and then
Right,
just be
that
like,
makes sense.
we got to get him out of here.
But what other team can
Boston.
could have made a better offer?
Boston
I
could
guess
have
they
made a better
could.
offer.
Yeah, but they weren't allowed to. So I get why they're waiting. But then there's the whole thing about, okay, it's only going to be a 1-year rental if they do trade for him.
We don't know that.
It's to me, it's not worth it. If he flat out says
But
this
you're talking
offseason,
about
if I
New
get traded
Orleans.
there, I'm not going to re-sign there.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm risking it because in my opinion, you'd have to give up way too much just for a 1-year rental thing, and then
But
you're what are you left with?
look at it from New Orleans' perspective. If we're the New Orleans, we don't care how long he's going to be there. I'm taking the best offer. If you're
Well,
giving
yeah,
me,
they don't care
Yeah.
if he's going to stay there or
And
not. They're
Tatum's
taking the
gonna be
best
in the
offer. You're
offer.
right. You're well.
right? Tatum is definitely going to be. They're not getting him.
That's who it's
without
going to be
Tatum.
centered around.
Yeah, and they're going to probably throw Brown in there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe another some. They have picks. We're forgetting they have picks.
Yeah.
I'm taking Tatum and Brown over Ingram and basically Kuzma.
Because they play with a lot more heart.
Yeah,
Brown
they
and
do.
Tatum do.
That's exactly.
And they're
Big
just
point, too.
yeah. Because to me, the problem with the Lakers, I don't have an issue with Kuzma. I have an issue with Brandon Ingram mostly.
I've always had an issue.
He's like Andrew Wiggins
Yeah,
to me.
simple.
Do you guys think it's a lack of effort,
Yeah.
though? Because I see Brandon Ingram trying a lot more than Andrew Wiggins
Okay,
trying.
sure, but
He
like,
doesn't have
it's
it.
not
He doesn't have that
The
rust,
it
that
factor?
dog mentality.
right.
And Kuzma,
Neither of them do.
Neither
Wiggins
of
or Ingram.
yeah. And I've seen Jaylen Brown,
I've seen it in Kuzma, and I've seen it in
but he's
Brown
not a
and
two-way
Tatum.
player like Brown and Tatum are.
No, he's strictly offense for the most part.
Sad thing is, I think Lonzo has it the most, but he's just
I
not
don't
very
want that.
good.
Yeah.
I don't want that headache either.
Lonzo Ball is a good pure point guard, but that's it. in
He
my
seems like
opinion.
the guy that.
I like him though.
Didn't they say he wouldn't play New Orleans?
Yeah, but he doesn't have a choice.
Yeah, but if you're gonna have to deal with his dad and all this annoying stuff.
That's true. That's a headache in itself.
I'd rather just take the Kings
Right.
2022 pick,
Right.
and maybe the Miami Heat pick. I know they have the Heat's pick, so I'd rather have
Huh.
that.
The Heat.
Either this year or
somebody
next year.
somebody got the Heat's pick for 2020. I don't remember who it was.
The Heat need to stop giving out picks.
They got somebody's pick. I don't
They
remember.
gave the Suns
Somebody
a
got
pick.
their pick.
They gave the Suns a pick to take Tyler Johnson off their hands.
Eesh.
Just don't give them money.
Is that even? Okay, so the other thing I wanted to bring up with the whole Lakers situation, since we're on it,
Clowns.
is their locker room is completely shattered.
Yeah.
All of it is. Actually, let's hold off on that.
Yeah.
Let's mention the buyout market real quick.
Okay.
This is going to be huge for contending teams. We saw Enes Kanter join the Trailblazers today, which is good for them. I would start him over Aminu and Harkless, and I would also start Rodney Hood over Aminu and Harkless. That would be a pretty good starting lineup in my opinion.
Yeah.
Enes Kanter was really good in his OKC days, averaged like 18 points per game. He's capable of doing the same thing now. He just hasn't gotten the opportunity on a playoff team.
And he's
Right.
proven himself as a bench player too. That
Yeah, he can
be
either
that
role,
guy,
either role.
Come off the bench. He was a six-man candidate. I don't
Yeah.
know if it was last year or the year before.
Yeah, you're right. Either role, any role any role that he ends up having on the Blazers, I think he's going to be good for them.
And that's important when
Yes.
it comes to contending for a championship. You got to play a role.
Exactly.
And then Matthews signed with
Pacers.
Pacers, yeah.
Wesley Matthews on the Pacers. Yeah, I don't think officially yet. Jeremy Lin is going to the Raptors. Fred VanVleet's out 5 weeks with a thumb injury, so he's going to be playing the backup point guard position, and then he can also play a backup too as well. And he's another solid bench player for the Raptors to add to their already solid bench.
Definitely an energy player. A lot of hustle.
Yeah, I mean, his time in Atlanta showed that he still has what it takes to be a good backup point guard.
he's smart too.
Yeah, he's a good player. I mean, though it was short,
High IQ.
it was though his tenure in Atlanta was short, he helped mentor Trae Young and helped prove that he's still a good player that a team would want to have for depth. You know what I'm saying? And it helped him realize, he said in his post that being there helped him realize he's still got it. And he was very thankful for the organization, for the opportunity and all that stuff. So, and the other thing this does is it opens up minutes for Trae Young to be the full-time point guard of the team.
And we saw that last night. Not everyone watches Hawks games, but a lot of people watch Lakers games.
Right, so they got a taste of Trae Young last night.
Yeah, and Trae and LeBron were battling, like assist. It was an assist battle.
22 and 14 assists for Trae Young, and then it was like 28 and 16 assists for LeBron.
Right.
But every time LeBron switched on Trae Young was looking for some way to embarrass him, whether it was a nutmeg assist or drive-by.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What I saw from Trae Young last night shows me that he's got it, like you said. So I'm a big fan of Trae.
Right. That's what you want. You want someone who wants to win that.
And he's not afraid. Like, he's got, like, we mentioned him trying to ISO on Kawhi for the win.
Right.
Before we saw him pull it from half court in preseason game winner against the Spurs veterans, and we saw him trying to do LeBron dirty last night, which he did a few times. Got clutch and one.
Right.
He got LeBron fouled him, and then he made the shot, and he was like, "Motherfucking right!" Did you see that? Did you see him point at the camera?
I
And say that?
didn't see that bit, but I saw the play.
Yeah, that was cool. What else? That's the two positives of this. It's a win-win for both teams. I mean, granted, they had to release Jeremy Lin. I think it's like that shows me that the Hawks have seen what they wanted to see from Trae Young so far, and are like, okay, we're ready to give you the full starting minutes. Because before he was only playing like 28, 29 minutes per game. Last night he played 38.
Right.
So
it was a rocky start, most definitely, just because the shooting wasn't there.
From the beginning of the season. Yeah.
For Trae.
Yeah.
And Jeremy Lin was at least consistent. He might not be a breakout scorer, but he was, if anything, consistent.
Yeah, and I think the Hawks coach Lloyd Pierce also deserves some credit for putting his guys in the right spot, especially for John Collins and Trae. John Collins has upped his points per game average by like 9 since last year. And a lot of that has to do with Trae Young being on the team, getting him open looks and lobs and whatnot.
Lanes, pick and roll.
To me, I'm so excited for the future of the Hawks.
I like how they're doing it without, maybe Trae's the only guy that they really legitimately had a tank for.
Right.
And they didn't really, everybody's trying to get the number one pick.
Right.
But, you look at a team like the Suns, who have had 4 top 5 picks.
Yeah, they're still not anything.
There's still no signs of life.
Right.
And you look at the Hawks, you're like, oh, I can look at 4 guys who I can say, I can see these guys legitimately being in,
Kevin Huerter's a phenomenal shooter.
Exactly, as a part of a championship team in the future, maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
you can build around.
You can see that look what they did to the arena alone. Yeah. They have the most beautiful arena I've ever seen. And I've seen like the insides of the other ones, and the restaurants there are just like fast food places. If you go to State Farm Arena, they've got legitimate restaurants in there, and they've got like lounges and stuff, and just the whole arena is just awesome. But that's just what ownership has done, to the arena they play in, and then you can see they're a well-run organization because of that. And they've drafted well. They got Collins and Huerter late first round back-to-back years, and they picked Trae, who's obviously worked out for them. So to me, they've got the makings of a future playoff team. And I think if they draft the right people they're probably going to get 2 top 10 picks this year, right? Most likely, 2 lottery picks. And if they draft the right guys, then I think they can make a push for the playoffs in a year or two.
Just my opinion, though, I would trade those 2 picks and try and move up.
Try and move up in the draft, yeah. If they're good enough picks, for sure.
Because you're not going to get 2 lottery picks when you already got. Well, I'm saying you're not going to get the full, production if you're taking 2 guys in the lottery who are probably expecting.
Right.
And you already got Trae Young. You got just too many mouths to feed.
Yeah, sure, that makes sense. So maybe trading those 2 picks for 1 higher pick would be better. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see how that works out. But they seem to be a pretty well-run organization.
Definitely exciting.
Yeah, for sure.
The future.
So let's see. We talked about Enes Kanter, right?
Yeah.
Okay. These are 2 great topics. Isaiah Thomas is returning tonight against the Kings. Just want to throw that out there.
Exciting.
He's missed, what was it, a year?
Yeah.
11
on a
months,
minutes
something like that.
restriction? Probably.
Oh yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But apparently he's had the hip replacement, I guess, or like
Yeah.
completely new hip. He said, and he said he's back to normal. So I want to watch Isaiah Thomas that I watched in.
Me too.
In
I'm
Boston
gonna watch tonight.
a couple
Who
years.
do they play?
They play Sacramento.
Okay,
so
I'm
it
gonna
should
watch that
Denver and
game.
Sacramento. It should be a fun game.
Definitely.
I'm probably gonna tune in,
Yeah.
check that out.
Me too.
But last two things here. Do you guys want to talk about the Lakers first, or what Marcus Morris and the Celtics chemistry stuff?
With Marcus Morris, I mean, we can hit on that pretty quickly, right? He said that, and yesterday looked like they solved it.
I've got a lot to say about this.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we can hit.
Okay, these are both pretty big
Yeah.
topics. Which one would you rather start with? Either one. All right.
Which one are
Morris.
you more passionate
We already
about?
opened it.
Both of them, honestly. All right,
We
yeah.
opened
So
it.
Marcus Morris, I didn't screenshot the quotes or anything, but he's basically saying the same stuff.
Yeah.
It was post game after they lost. They blew that huge lead to the Clippers, and he was saying like they're not having fun. Hasn't been fun for a while. Everybody's got to make sacrifices and whatnot. Basically saying a bunch of stuff alluding to major chemistry issues. At least that's how I took it.
Yeah.
And so, what do you guys think about this? What do you think he meant by all that?
I think this is more about chemistry. Obviously, I mean, he talks about lack of fun, toughness. Like that's all just team chemistry. That's touches. That's ball movement.
Right.
Yesterday we saw. I don't know if you saw the highlights because I know you told me you weren't watching the whole game, but the ball movement was amazing. There was 4 or 5 guys touching the ball almost every play.
And it's different when Kyrie's not in the lineup. They
Which
play that way, which I don't want to say this. Kyrie's one of my favorite players, but sometimes
he can
I think
negatively affect.
I think he's got to look in the mirror and think, "Am I the problem?"
Player, he's not.
Because I hate to say it that he might be part of it.
Yeah.
But you can't win a championship without Kyrie Irving. The Celtics can't.
Right now they can't.
Mm-mm.
But I said this at the beginning of the season when Kawhi was available.
Mhm.
I said you got to pick a side. You can't rebuild, keep all these young guys on the roster, and then try and go for a championship right now.
Right.
I thought, hey, if the Spurs come up to you and ask for either Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown, and some other young guy for Kawhi Leonard, I would have taken it. Okay, maybe it's only a 1-year rental, but
then you have Kawhi and Kyrie.
yeah, but that's the risk. I mean, you're in a great position right now. They were in a great position this summer,
Right.
and they still can be next summer.
Yeah.
If they hold on to Kyrie. But I think, if Kyrie doesn't stay, they're going to be fine. If Kyrie stays and they're able to get a guy like AD, they'll also be in a great position too. But you're going to have to give up your young guys for AD, so throw your future out the window.
Right. Exactly.
So there's a decision that
But
that's
if you
gotta be
can
made.
keep AD and Kyrie long term, then your future's there, and you
That's
didn't
also
give it up.
true.
So
That's also true. It's just a matter of picking a direction.
Right.
Are you trying to win right now, or are you trying to win in 4 to 5 years? But that core you have in 4 to 5 years is going to be Rozier, Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. It's
Right.
going to be legit guys.
we saw what that group did last year in the playoffs. They went all the way to Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals, which I think they should have won.
They're one game from the finals, and they would have put up
Yeah.
a way better fight than
Cleveland did.
'cause
I
they're
agree.
a real team.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the issue. That's the biggest issue. Is those guys, Terry Rozier, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, have all seen a significant role change from last year,
Yeah.
and they like their roles better. Richard Jefferson said this with Kyrie out of the lineup because they get more touches, they get more minutes, this and that.
Yeah.
But the thing is
Kyrie
is
dribbles a lot,
those
too.
guys have to know that Kyrie Irving is a cerebral talent, and that they need to accept the role, a
Kyrie
lesser
needs
role.
to accept a role too.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
That's on him too.
He should be an X factor. Do what KD did.
I don't know, man, because if what Marcus Morris said is true, which it is, because
It
he
lines
said it,
up
right?
with what we're seeing.
Yeah, it does.
Especially what we saw yesterday, it lines up. It's starting to make a lot more sense.
Because if they don't figure out, like, this is what I was talking to my dad about this yesterday. I think the right words need to be said to the right guys by the right person, and by that I mean,
Hit it right on the head,
the leader in the locker room has to go to all the guys and define their role to each of them. Like,
yeah.
this is your role on the team, this is your job every night, and then they have to hold each other accountable and be like, hey, maybe you're not quite doing your job. Like,
Exactly. From what we saw last year, this should be a 60 to 65 win.
That's what I predicted, but
I said 70 at one point.
Yeah, I remember
was
that.
a little over my head, but I really thought, oh, you're adding these two talents, and you guys already won 51, 52 without them.
yeah.
It's like, hey, there's no reason Kyrie and Gordon Hayward combined shouldn't be worth. But that's not
Right.
how the NBA
And,
works.
yeah, I mean, there's been obviously huge adjustment period and whatnot, and if they don't figure out this soon, they might not make it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I still think they're very capable of going to the finals.
Agreed.
They just got to figure this out,
Yeah.
and it's taken way longer than it should have.
Up and down, they still have the best roster. Up and down.
Mm.
And they do have the best coach.
Well,
and they
I don't know. I would
probably-
take the Sixers starting 5 over.
I'm saying up and down. Bench included.
Okay, sure.
Chemistry with the bench is to me is a little bit.
That's
important.
very important. That's also.
They have the best home court. Boston
Sure,
TD
yes,
Garden.
yes.
They have the best coach. There's no reason they shouldn't get to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Right, and that would be a huge disappointment if they don't.
Would. It really would, especially after last year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even want to entertain that, but it's a possibility.
It's a big possibility.
What do you think, Seth?
Just about generally the Celtics' future.
Yeah.
Yeah, based
Sorry,
on Marcus.
I'm sorry I've been kind of quiet.
That's
but,
okay.
I don't know. I just like hearing you guys talk because you guys have good discussions. But,
Right.
As far as the Celtics, again, it's just it's accepting roles. I think what
Yeah.
you said is right about Kyrie having, look in the mirror a little bit.
Yeah,
Sacrifice.
so maybe he has to take less touches to get the other guys
Right.
some more touches that they might want.
Even
or
though
need.
Kyrie can make shots that Westbrook can't, maybe play a little bit like Westbrook, and even when you have that open shot,
Okay.
show that you have confidence in your teammates.
They got to play a little more unselfishly. Is that kind of what
Do
you're,
a little
Yeah.
more
what you're
of
saying?
everything else.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a great point. He's upped his assist average from like 4.5.
Right, and he's
career
doing
average to,
better
like,
with
seven-
the assists.
seven
I
this
mean, of
year.
course, he gets dimes like all the time. You
Yeah.
see it, and like
He's a
they're
good
Sports
passer.
Center top 10 all the time.
Yeah, he's
But-
a good passer. He just doesn't get enough credit for it.
Right. But
Yeah.
I'm just saying, he can make those shots. It's just having to mesh with your team. You have
Yeah.
the talent. It's just assembling it in the right order, in the right way, so that you can succeed.
And what's weird to me is before Kyrie got hurt last year, they were on pace to still win 50-something games. And then when he goes out of the lineup, everybody's roles increases, minutes increase, and whatnot. And then they form this bond and chemistry and style of play without him and Gordon Hayward that it's hard to go back on that, I
And
guess.
this year they're 8-2 without him.
They are 8-2 without Kyrie, which is kind of telling a little bit. I'm getting concerned about Kyrie leaving.
Yeah.
I really am.
Yeah.
Because if what we talked about earlier, if they get bounced in the second round, or even if they somehow lose to Philly in the first round in the 4-5 matchup,
That whole "if you'll have me" thing starts to become a real thing.
all
It's
like that's
will we
that's
have
the
you?
biggest disappointment. And I think if they get bounced in the first or second round, I think Kyrie's out,
Yeah.
which is unfortunate because I love watching him play in Boston, like I've said a million times. So
yeah,
to me, it's tough.
amazing player.
Yeah. Hopefully they can figure that out because that would be really disappointing. All I
So
know is
did-
the second round of the playoffs are going to be amazing. All right, last thing here is the Lakers. Will they make or miss the playoffs?
I think they should just not tank, obviously, but
They're 2.5 games out of the 8th seed.
right, just understand that they're not going. LeBron's not going to carry them like they carried the Cavs, or like he carried the Cavs.
Because he's in the much harder Western Conference.
Right, and this is very telling of just how different each conference is, and the degree of difficulty.
The East is very top-heavy. The West is very middle-heavy, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And the Kings kind of remind me of what the Nets are doing.
Yeah.
know,
Completely
similar-
turned their season around
Yeah.
from last year.
And
are
they're
making,
playing as a team.
Yes, they have such great chemistry.
But it's like, man, are you going to bet on them or are you going to bet on LeBron?
Yeah, so let me get a prediction from each of you.
Yeah.
Will they make or miss the playoffs? The Lakers.
I think they're going to make it. I just don't see how LeBron is not in the playoffs.
I
It's
agree
just
with
hard
you.
for him.
I can't see LeBron James not in the playoffs.
Me neither.
But at the same time, the way the Kings are playing and the way the Lakers aren't playing, to me,
I think
They
it'll
might-
be a
they-
battle. I think it'll be like very end of games, like each game matters.
Apparently, they're gonna have to go like 16-9 over the last.
The Lakers.
Yeah, they're gonna have to go 16-9 over their last. How many games is that? 25.
There's only 25 games left.
Yeah, they're gonna have to go. They're gonna
Wow.
have to do that over their last 25 games just to squeak into the playoffs at the 8th seed
Just to get the brakes beaten off them.
in the first round. Yeah. So I don't honestly know if it would be worth it to try to get to the play. I mean,
Right, that's what I was saying. It's
Right.
just like,
Is
just
it
kind of
worth-
export. Because LeBron even said there's like, I'm surprised, where we are right now.
Mhm.
When they were on a bit of a win streak and when there was some success that they were seeing.
Right.
Before all this, locker room drama.
Yeah.
The whole
Yeah.
Anthony Davis trade. They were seeing some success. Again, some players inconsistent, like Brandon
Mhm.
Ingram, always frustrating to watch.
Yeah.
But
Did LeBron make the wrong decision?
Yes.
Does he think? Is
Well,
he starting to regret
he-
a little bit?
If he wants to win a championship immediately, then yes, he made the wrong decision.
Oh, yeah.
But if he did this as a PR move and to build his brand and what his future after basketball, then no.
I still don't see how this positively affected him at all. I don't see any situation.
Well,
how
he
this is
he did say that he's already done everything there is to do in the NBA, and everything else is just icing on the cake. So I don't know if LeBron himself is even wanting to. Obviously, he'd love to win a championship, but I don't know if he's necessarily that. I don't know if that's his
I
goal.
don't think he's trying to win. So why would AD want to go there? If AD's
Well,
come out and said,
That's a good point.
I think LeBron's out of the championship mode. I think
Based on that
I think
quote
the
in that
Warriors
interview,
broke him.
maybe no, he didn't get broken by the Warriors. I think
And he's
I think
old,
he's
too.
realized, hey, I'm 34 years old now.
Yeah.
Maybe going to play with the young team was just what he wanted to do, and maybe because they asked him, he's like, when do you start worrying about not making the playoffs? He's like, well, you either make it or you don't. That's when you worry about it. So I don't think he's necessarily concerned with winning all that much.
I think he could have gotten the
But-
same amount of clout in Philly.
I will tell you this. I think it was Jalen Rose saying that the Anthony Davis trade just completely destroyed the Lakers locker room because watching how they play, they don't play with any heart or energy, and like they got beat by the Hawks last night, and you could see that they just weren't trying. Like the Hawks didn't. Neither team scored in like the last 6 minutes or something like that. They didn't score for a 6
That's
minute.
why it was hard for me to
6
watch.
minute
Because I was
period.
like, it's not even a lot of defense.
Yeah.
Like LeBron should have had like 20-something assists. There were so many
Right.
missed
The
layups.
Hawks gave them so many opportunities
Oh
to
my
get
God.
back into the game and win it.
It was tough
but they
to
didn't.
watch.
They didn't capitalize on. Like you could see the body language was just deflated and whatever. I mean,
Right.
I don't know, man. It's just I don't want to entertain the fact that LeBron might miss the playoffs because I don't.
I will.
But if there's any,
I think it's a very
I
likely
think it's-
situation
I think
that
it's-
he will miss the playoffs.
I don't want to say it's likely, but it definitely could happen. But if there's anybody I would put faith in to carry the team to the playoffs, it'd be LeBron James.
Of course. Of
But
course.
I mean, ever since the groin injury and missing all those games, like if the only reason they're going to miss the playoffs if they do is because of those 17 games that LeBron missed, right? At least that's how I would look at it. But at the same time, you miss the playoffs, you know. I don't know. I wouldn't. Like I said, if there's anybody I would count on, it would be LeBron. But he is getting older, and signs of aging are starting to show a little bit. So,
Hairline's still growing.
it
Back.
wouldn't-
I
it
don't
wouldn't-
understand that in the slightest.
it wouldn't surprise me if the Lakers
Hey.
missed.
No, who was that one player like spray painted it on?
Carlos Boozer.
That's right.
Yeah, that was bad.
Sorry,
Right.
off track. But
Fresh
anyways.
coat on his
It wouldn't
head.
surprise me if the Lakers missed the playoffs, and I wouldn't necessarily be disappointed because I didn't. Like I expected them to make it, but I'm not going to be mad if they don't. I know Lakers fans would be pissed. The Lakers, though.
Let's go back to being
they're-
Warriors.
Yeah.
Dang.
Bro, come on.
Shots.
I'm just saying, bro.
so
Came
I-
out the woodworks this year with LeBron.
They really did.
Yeah.
That's true.
Do you see the Hawks Twitter account troll those LA fans? Did you see that?
Sea of yellow going up
Oh
the
my god!
up
It was
the,
like,
up the
who's the best
stand.
team in LA? And they were like, yeah, Lakers. And then
Yeah.
they showed the standings. It was like they're
The worst team.
the worst team in LA.
Yeah.
Statistically, the
geez.
worst team.
Y'all got it. I don't know. I know
Look how
Lakers
many
fans
banners
are
you
also
got.
trying to use Luke Walton as the
Scapegoat.
scapegoat, I guess you
Yeah.
could say,
That's-
pointing to him as the problem. But I don't think he's necessarily the problem.
That's why it's such an unattractive place to play for the Lakers, in my opinion, when there's already another LA team. There's 4 teams in California.
Yeah.
It's like the fans are terrible because they're just gonna rip you to shreds if you don't, if you're not good. The coach is going through turmoil. You got to worry about LeBron.
Yeah, Lakers Twitter last night was.
They don't even have a real GM. You know.
I mean,
their agent wasn't he an agent last year?
Who?
Palenka. He was.
Maybe.
He was a bunch of these guys.
He's been an agent in the past.
So what does he know about being a GM?
I don't know, man. They're kind of a weird situation. I mean, I mentioned
Hire
it
real
before how
people.
I was questioning Magic's decisions and whatnot.
Yeah.
Before, and some of the trades he's made and decisions he's made as far
D'Lo.
as the draft, Lonzo Ball
Yeah.
instead of Tatum.
That's what I'm saying. You don't draft Hollywood people to run an actual.
They were
basketball
literally
team.
persuaded by
The
the
fans.
media and the fans
And the
to draft
media.
Lonzo Ball.
Yeah, and this summer they're gonna come away with no free agents. People are gonna start to realize, this whole, not draft Rondo, sign Rondo and Jet Vale and Lance and try and create this whole, clown lake show.
Clown show.
But after all this stuff, all this hype, all this media stuff, they're 10th and they're 3.5 games out of the West.
Man.
And they've
Two and a
got
half. 2.5 games out of
2.5
the
games.
eight
I'm
seed.
sorry,
And-
and they're behind teams that are like the Clippers, who just basically jump ship.
And how great the Kings are playing and the
Yeah.
chemistry there,
Yeah.
and then how not great the Lakers are playing and how the chemistry isn't there.
Yeah,
It looks like they might.
Embarrassing.
It looks like they might miss out on the playoffs.
yeah. I wouldn't be.
I'm not going to
surprised.
predict either thing going to happen though, because, like I said, I would bet on LeBron. to
That's
make
why
the
it's
playoffs.
hard to see them miss the playoffs.
It
with
is.
LeBron, but,
Right.
Running a
But
real NBA team.
it's a real possibility. I mean, this is the first time a LeBron James team is under 500 since his rookie season at this point of the season.
Yeah.
And when this happened, the first time it was his rookie season, they didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, I mean, history might repeat itself here, but it's hard for me to see that. But it's evident that the whole Anthony Davis trade rumors really just shattered all chemistry that was being built before then. So,
Right.
you got any more thoughts on it?
No, just it's disappointing for sure,
Yeah.
but it's kind of understandable. I think people had a lot of high hopes, and people were
for
like,
sure.
they saw these weird picks like Lance and Rondo, and they were like,
Those
what's
weird
going on?
signings, yeah.
LeBron knows what he's doing.
JaVale
He'll figure it
McGee,
out
yeah.
because the GM, the coach will settle them all down.
Right.
But it hasn't worked out. It really hasn't panned out so far,
Mm-hmm.
unless they make a huge push and LeBron.
They're gonna have to go.
Playoff LeBron just takes over.
Yeah, they're gonna have to go +7 as far as games you have to win more than losses. They're gonna have to win 7 more games than they lose for the rest of the next 25 games to squeak into the playoffs. And even then, you're gonna get dismantled by Golden State in the first round. So, it's tough. They should have. If LeBron hadn't gotten injured, they would be a top 5 team, top 6, I would imagine, and then
I disagree.
have better playoff chances and
I
aspirations.
don't
But
think they're top 5 or top 6.
you don't think so? Well, they were playing like that before he got injured, and before all the AD rumors started.
I'm saying, but okay, that's fair. But I don't see them as a top 6 or top.
That's fine. We debated this in the before the season started, where we think they would end up.
I
And
think I said 7 or 8.
I think you did.
I think we both kind of agreed around that.
I had between 5 and 8 somewhere in
Yeah,
there.
That's
But I think we hit it all.
fair. Yeah.
Lots to talk about, and I'm glad we did, because I've been thinking about this stuff ever since everything's happened, and we haven't
Right.
gotten a chance to record. So yeah, hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, leave a like and comment. Let us know what you think about our takes, and subscribe for more. And we'll see you guys on the next one. See ya.
Later.